Do you remember some of the like collector's edition ones? Like again with GameCube. Remember when they had that freaking chainsaw controller? Like it was a special.
No. Well, I feel like I do, but
It was a special edition with um, Resident Evil 4.
oh, that would have been miserable to play on.
Dude, it was. I just remember seeing it and being like, what in the world? And I mean, it was cool, like cool collector's thing.
Oh my gosh, they're going for like a lot of money right now too, though.
Oh, dude, it is absolutely insane. And I mean, they had all kinds of random controllers that popped up over the years like that. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are back for episode 26. 26? Yep. Episode,
Yep, 26.
yep. And we are on April 28th. Today's episode, we were actually, I think last episode we talked about doing an episode that was going to be DC focused. I believe that we kind of alluded to that. I think it was going to be called Heroes in the Shadows. However, we want that to be a trio or quad episode, and we weren't able to get kind of schedules locked down for that yet. So we're actually pivoting a wee bit, which we did allude to during patch notes a couple weeks
We
ago.
definitely said that we were going thinking about it, but we would have to see the schedules line up. And this week the schedules are lining up a little bit better than they have been. So
Yeah. So, but this week we are going to be talking about it's our episode title for our story mode is In Our Hands. And that is going to be kind of just general game discussion, but around controllers throughout
and like the
history.
developments of controllers and
Yeah.
how they've changed, and we alluded to it a couple weeks back talking about the airflow.
Yep. And that was
Oh, and that's kind of what got this brought up to talk about.
Yeah, I did a TikTok about it. We were talking about airflows, and it was like, yeah, we know we do something about talk about controllers and peripherals and
Yeah.
things like that. We'll talk about some of our favorites and some of the things that I don't even know why they existed. But and then our side quests are going to be in line with our story mode to some degree, which I think we've been trying to consistently do that to a degree. But we're going to do power cycle, so kind of a deep pull as it relates to controllers and accessories. And then split screen. Split screen is that segment where we do a then and now on a very specific topic. So it's going to be a then and now on controllers and accessories, but from a motion and
When it's
now
shifted
VR.
from motion to VR.
Yeah, so from kind of that perspective. Which means we may not get to a lot of VR stuff in the story mode. We'll save that for the side quests.
So whenever you're listening to this, don't worry. We're gonna talk about VR. It's just gonna get down a little bit.
Yeah, even though my old ass can't even do that anymore because
You get too winded, don't you?
No, hey, no, I said my old ass, not my big ass. No, I have to take Dramamine to play VR, and historically I could take some Dramamine and then play and be fine from the motion sickness thing. But the last time I had a VR headset, I took some Dramamine and I couldn't beat the nausea, so I had to get rid of my headset.
Oh goodness! All right, well let's start talking about controllers.
Yep, let's jump into our story mode In Our Hands. So, you're right. The whole reason this even came up as a concept was talking about airflow controllers and things. And I even had a conversation with somebody at work about some third party controllers. But, it's nuts to think about the fact that when gaming started, it was, I mean, even before you and I were messing with it, I mean, they were just like paddles and wheels and shit.
Well, and just the straight development, like going from so like the Atari, for instance. So Atari was just the joystick, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
well, and
and-
even before that, they had the thing with the wheel for Pong or something. But
Yeah, and then you have like the arcades that it was 6 buttons or whatever it is, and
yeah,
which you take that, and I know we're going to talk about it later. That's what developed into a fight stick, like for later on, which is a peripheral that we'll talk about later.
oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like you go super old school, and it's funny because you talk to our parents or people older, and they won't call, like you can be sitting there playing an Xbox or whatever, and they'll call it a joystick. Like maybe not our parents, but like boomers or sound like really old folks will say they'll call it a joystick. It's like, well, no, it's not a joystick, but it started from a joystick.
Yeah.
Even though now it's just one component. But I mean, obviously the first controllers we would have really started with
Was the NES.
was the NES. You had your D-pad, you had your start button, your select button, and A
And
and
your,
B. That
yep.
was it. That was all we had. And
Which it's funny because those are still being used in Tetris tournaments.
oh yeah, you showed me a video the other
And they
day
were
of
the way they flick it.
yeah, they call it
It's yeah, it's
rolling
some
or
kind yeah, it's
something.
some kind of thing with Tetris, like with how you play Tetris. But it's just that's something that's still used because Tetris tournaments are still on the original Tetris. So,
Well, and Nintendo, of course, is the master of innovation. And I mean, frankly, it doesn't matter anymore because it won't work on Switch too. But they came out with the NES controllers for the Switch for you to play the classic
I
games.
do remember that.
But the way you would charge them, and I was getting ready to say, I wish I would still have those, but it doesn't matter. But the only way you could charge them was by docking it on an original Switch. Like it had the slide, so it wouldn't work on the Switch 2 to charge it.
I gotcha.
But no, I mean, but the thing is, playing those old games like that, like sometimes it's more complex to have the big busy controllers that we have now.
Because they only use two buttons.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't have to, and I mean, the SNES went like a little further. Like they
It had the two buttons, and then it had the
Mm,
bumpers, and
yeah, they gave us our bumpers, and technically, like when I was googling and all that, they say the SNES was kind of the blueprint for modern ergonomics to a degree.
I mean, if you think about it, it's four buttons, bumpers.
Yeah. Now, I mean that whole A B X Y thing though, like, and we'll talk about when we get to my favorite controller of all time, but that still jacks me up.
That you just made a TikTok about the other
I
day.
did just make a TikTok about it the other day, but and I like the SNES controller, but I think we talked about this. I didn't really have an SNES. I went from an NES
Yeah,
to a Sega Genesis,
yeah.
and the Sega controller, like I don't know what the hell they
That's
were
the one
thinking.
that had like the screen on it, right?
No, that's the Dreamcast.
Okay.
No, the Sega Genesis controller was for one, it was super super freaking uncomfortable. First of all, but it had like
Oh, I know. I do remember this. Yeah. I do remember this.
yeah, now, but it had, and I think they had a couple iterations of it, but the main one had
Had
like,
six buttons.
well, I think that was the second iteration. I think the first one was just three buttons, and they had A, B, and C, and then they had the D-pad. I don't think
Oh, I see it. I have
Yeah,
it
I
right
think they
here.
had start and select, but they had a
It
second
has
iteration of
start.
it.
It has start. It has the directional pads, but it also has like how like some of them didn't have like this one has like the angles too, where you could
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. It just, but I remember it not being very comfortable at all.
Didn't really play Sega, so I can't really give you an opinion.
But it was, I mean, but all of those kind of controllers were all still kind of that staple sideways, like they didn't feel any kind of way. Like when I think of the more modern, I can't think of any of that. And you know, of course, peripheral wise, um, the Nintendo had the light gun, which we'll get into that because that's one of our side quest things. But of course, you could call Virtual Boy maybe a console, maybe a peripheral as far as that era kind of went.
Yeah.
But they didn't really have. I mean, the peripherals we didn't start seeing I mean, I feel until kind of the
So
era where we both really cut our teeth, and
yeah.
that's N64 and PlayStation.
Which I don't think it was that bad. The weirdest shape of all time controller. Like I don't.
Which one?
I
N64?
yeah. I
It
like
was.
the 64
That
controller.
is the weirdest freaking, like, I don't understand the thought process with the N64 controller.
I believe Wayne even made this comment a couple weeks ago when he was on here about how that was one of his favorite controllers.
I know, and it blew my mind. Now,
Yeah, I like it.
now here's the thing though. Here's the thing I'm most curious of. How did you roll up your
And an X.
in an X? You did the X.
Yeah.
See, I saw a TikTok the other day, and I forget which podcast it was, but they were talking about that, and they had controllers in front of them. And, dude, one of them rolled them up, like, in a line. Like, they rolled the left side up, like, a certain length of time, and then they went to the right side. And it was weird.
No, I always went, you go across, and then
each
to where
time.
the front's an X.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that to me was the only way.
So, something I was just kind of thinking of, and I don't think it was this. Third-party controllers didn't really start until the
N64. I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. Is there some for the N64?
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
Yeah. They had some, like, if you look up just third-party N64 controllers, you'll see. Now, to your point, though.
But you really, really started seeing them with like PS2 and
big time,
Xbox. Because I remember, which just when we get there, I'll talk about it more. But I remember my Xbox controller that I got was a third-party controller. It's the one I used all the time.
Oh yeah, no, they did have now. But to your point, the N64 third party may have come like later down the line when it
was originally coming out. Yeah,
but it was. Now the thing is, like, I think everyone knows the story that Nintendo and Sony like were gonna partner to make a console, and then I don't even know the full logistics behind it, but there was a pissing match or whatever happened, and then of course you ended up
they had their own.
You ended up having Sony go their own way and make the PlayStation.
So, and that's what I think you referenced it in another one, but the button layout is because of that. Like, that's why the buttons are different, because Nintendo has a patent on the buttons being the way they are
on their ABXY. Yeah. And that's the thing. The N64, like, as annoying as the ABXY thing is, I mean, N64, they did something totally freaking different. They did the AB and then the
AB and then
the
C buttons, and then you had the triggers, and then the Z button on the back, and then you had that's the thing. The 64 had so many buttons on it and made it to where you but it worked for like for Zelda, for instance. Like,
it did.
It was perfect.
It was
because you had your C buttons, your up, talk to oh my gosh, the fairy. It was the interactive / fairy button, and then you were like, A was your roll, B was your B was your
that was
sword.
your attack and stuff. Yeah,
it was your sword. The Z button was your shield.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and then one of them, I forgot which one was like the lock, where you could like.
It was one of the buttons, the R buttons.
Yeah,
I think.
But it
no, maybe it was the Z was the.
I think
Z was the lock on, and R was the like where it recentered the camera.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing though, like. The fact of the matter is, so we said the Atari controller was a freaking joystick, and that boomers call every controller a joystick. But we didn't even get a joystick onto a controller until the N64.
No.
Like, if there's one thing Nintendo consistently does, it is some kind of ergonomic and or innovative type thing. And I mean, that was just the one joystick. Obviously, we get more innovation later with the two joysticks, but I mean, that was obviously something. Now, I will say this, though. Those joysticks were made terrible. Like, I seem to remember them getting worn out really, really easy. Like, I mean, I'd be so OCD, like, if it was, like, loose, it would, like, stress me out, and I wouldn't want to, like, if friends came over to play Mario Kart or whatever, I'd give them the crappy joystick controller because I didn't like the way that it felt. I mean, it was just strange. But you talked about PlayStation with the reason why they have square, triangle, circle, X. I mean, that first controller, I actually forget about it. Like, all the time when I'm thinking
because you still played the DualShock one when it.
Yes, I mean, but the first one did not have.
Nope. I remember the one that we had at our grandma's house did not have joysticks. It was just the regular DualShock. But my uncle had the one with the joysticks.
Yeah, well, DualShock is the joysticks, but
Well, that's what I meant. But I meant like the DualShock was the one. I don't. The other one was just the PS1 controller.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But
it's so,
now I do remember there being third party for PlayStation.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yes.
Now, we had the conversation about it. You've got the little mini PlayStation thing,
Yeah.
right? Was it the old controllers or the ones?
I think it's the DualShock.
Is it DualShock? Okay.
Yeah, it's over. It's actually I think it's upstairs, or I would tell you because it's either in there or it's upstairs.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but I'm pretty sure it has the DualShock.
Well, but it
was. Keep talking.
Yeah, all right. Well, that was the thing for me. Like I forget about the skinny one all the time because I very much remember it with the joysticks. And okay, yeah, that one. So it's the old one.
Yep, it's the original.
But now we've got a little more staple, L1, L2, R1, R2, our D-pad, our 4 buttons, start, select. And then when they came out with DualShock, that's when we got our 2 sticks. But they're the 2.
If I remember right, too, the original ones didn't have L3, R3. Like they didn't work in a button fashion like that, correct?
Right. Correct. They were just the sticks. And there were games, like if you remember the DualShock, you would turn on and off. Because some games supported it and some games didn't. So you would actually have to like turn on.
Yeah, it wouldn't register. You had to turn it on and off.
Yeah, and actually something else I completely forgot about in talking about N64 in conjunction with PlayStation. The other thing, though, you remember with the N64 controller, it did not have built-in rumble, and you had to buy
the rumble pack. Well, if you remember too, that little port on the N64 controllers. Yeah, there's so much they did with that.
Oh,
you had the
rumble packs went in there. Was it the memory pack thing too, or something?
The memory pack went in it. The thing to play, like when you're playing like Pokemon Stadium and stuff.
That's right.
It played all your Pokemon games. You can use all your Pokemon on Pokemon Stadium. It was the first innovation of that.
Again, Nintendo and their innovation. But see, that was something that PlayStation with their DualShock, they put in the little doohickeys that had the vibration inside the controller.
Yeah.
So they were able to do that too, but. People argue, of course, that kind of set the gold standard, and really PlayStation, ironically enough, like again checking all this, they actually won an Emmy for tech impact on the PlayStation controller.
I mean, I guess I can see it,
but when you think about it, like you look at your PS5 controller, the layout hasn't changed much. Like the ergonomics have changed.
The only difference is the pad now.
Yeah. Now. My question, though, I saw a TikTok of this the other day, and I was like, there's no way. But when you name off the buttons on the PlayStation controller, how do you say it? Like the buttons on the right side of the PlayStation controller, not the D-pad. But
I've never thought about that because I don't.
Just say it. Just say what you identify those buttons as.
X, circle, square, triangle?
Apparently, it's not X. Apparently, it's cross.
Oh, I've never said that. No, I've always
agreed. Neither have I. Yeah. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, and it was something like from Sony, and I was like, no, it's X, circle, triangle.
Well, you can't, if it's from Sony, you can't really tell Sony they're wrong.
Oh, they're wrong. No, straight up.
You can't tell the company that made it they're wrong.
Okay. No, you totally can. Okay, here's another one for you. Completely off topic. If you're playing Uno, can you stack draw twos?
Yes.
Can you stack draw fours?
I don't think so.
No. Yes, you can. Anyway, the creators of Uno apparently on X said you cannot stack draw twos or draw fours.
See, I thought it was you could stack draw twos, not draw fours.
Yeah, and everyone said they were wrong. And they made the game. So I can totally say Sony was wrong.
Yeah, well.
Like 100%. But no, I mean, but obviously I'm a Sony fanboy. I'm biased. But they got an Emmy for it. But I think, though, and I love my PlayStation controllers. I do. But what the Xbox did, really, with now given the Fat Boy Xbox controller, did you ever use those?
So when the original Xbox came out, I was so young that my hands weren't big enough for it.
Dude, it was massive and so insanely
So
uncomfortable.
that's what I was talking about earlier. So like we were talking about third party and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The controller that I used on the original Xbox, it was a thing controller, like the thing from Fantastic Four. That's what my controller was.
Oh,
So and
gotcha.
it was smaller, and I could actually hold on to it and use it. So that was my control. Like I remember they specifically bought me a smaller controller because they realized my hands wouldn't fit, and that's the one they bought me. So that's the controller I used all the time. It was fantastic. The only thing with the smaller controllers are, if you remember, the original Xbox controllers, like the Fat Boy, had the top ports in them.
Yes. And
So the
they
smaller
were,
ones didn't.
yeah, that's right. And if I remember, like that was
Memory
because
cards, wasn't it?
yeah, because obviously PlayStation had memory cards, and then
Mhm.
yeah, I'm pretty sure the Xbox that's what it was in the top of the Fat Boy, or they had them on the console too.
Well, and I know that we've had this conversation about like online games were first, but like Xbox and PS2s were where online really started. Like Halo 2 with Xbox and
Oh well,
you know,
I won't even give that to. I just realized that I literally roped PlayStation and PlayStation 2 together when I was doing this, and I just now was like, "Where's PlayStation 2 go?" But it's there. But the Xbox Fat Boy was terrible. Like I didn't like, but they must have realized it because the regular like the controller that we
came
knew,
out
like
really
right
quick.
after,
Yes.
and
But like it wasn't the design of the controller, it was just how big they made it.
yeah,
Because the
exactly.
design of the controller was fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They were the first ones to ever do the asymmetric sticks,
So oh, you're talking about the
where one's higher than the other.
yeah, and that right there formed one of the best controllers of all time.
Oh yeah, no,
And it's not even close.
and that's the thing. I love my PlayStation controller. That's a fact. But that layout with the off-center sticks is like perfect. Like even when you put your hand out in front of you, you'll see like it as much as I love PlayStation, it feels weird to put my thumbs like this. Like it just feels natural to
Yeah.
have it asymmetrical.
Yeah, to have it.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I have that same color over in the other room. Yeah, it just feels more natural. And then, what's funny is they have A, B, and X, Y too, but I feel their layout of A, B, X, Y is what we like.
Oh yeah, it is.
Like that's where I get
It
jacked
is.
up going over
So
to
well,
the
and it's also because I
Switch.
played like we played Nintendo and everything. So I noticed this the other day because, as you know, I've been playing Red Dead again.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I've been going through Red Dead. While I'm playing it on the Switch, runs really good, by the way.
Does it? I was
Yeah,
wondering.
it runs really good. But you know, I feel like I should be playing it on like a PlayStation or an Xbox. So when it tells me to hit A, like first instinct is to go to the A button,
Yep.
like not the, where it is on the Switch. You know what
Which
I mean?
which literally I got to look at my Switch controller to remind me. Yeah, it jacks me up all the time.
So
Well,
well,
and
and so 360 is also where like people started. This is gonna sound. They changed how they hold the controller. It sounds really dumb, but so this is where I really started like playing FPSs and stuff like that, which you have on here and like the controls and stuff like that. Like it
oh
just feels
yeah,
better
yeah,
when you're
yeah,
playing.
yeah.
So your typical person owns a controller with his index finger on both of the backs, and then
Oh Jesus. Do you play with both of your freaking fingers on the bumpers and the triggers?
no, you so you
Oh,
still have one,
yeah.
but now your index finger is on these buttons.
What the hell is that?
It's called claw.
No. That's
Yes,
ridiculous. Is that one of
it
those
is.
is it one of them competitive things?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Well then that's why that looks
Yeah,
goofy.
so it's because like whenever it makes it easier. So like if you wanted to like for FPSs in particular, if you wanted to jump, you don't ever have to take your hands off of the back triggers. So I can hit A and the trigger all at one time.
Dude, that feels insanely uncomfortable. Fuck that or no, that's just
Yeah,
awful.
no, that's something that so what there's a reason I'm going here. So that is what people started doing with the Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah.
And then there's a company called Scuff. And this is when custom controllers became a thing.
Oh, gotcha. Because yeah, up
This,
to this point, it was just like colors and stuff like that.
yes,
Okay, I've seen that controller.
this is a it's a Scuff. It's a
Wh-
Scuff Envision.
with symmetric sticks. I'm surprised you don't have it.
Because this is the PC version of the
Oh, gotcha.
so, but it has so this is what they did with the 360 controllers when it really first started. Okay, so they put what they took the triggers and they put these little things. I used to have one, but it
Oh, I
broke.
know what you're talking about. We sold
They're
them at
called trigger
GameStop.
stops.
Yeah.
Well, they're called trigger stops. No, well these are not what we sold at GameStop.
Oh.
They would actually drill right in the back, right here, right in the back of the trigger, to make it to where when you shot, so like if you had a single shot gun, it would stop it the second the bullet goes off and reset your trigger.
So it sounds like modded controllers is what you're telling me.
It is, but it was a legal mod because they still technically, like, they're technically partnered with all the big companies.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So but you had to order straight from them. But they also, I can't remember if they were doing it. So 360s, whenever we had the controllers we talked about with the airflow.
Yeah, I actually.
Or no, they were on Xbox.
That's where I had my first, because you brought up online PS2 and Xbox, which is true, but I don't even give. I know PlayStation had SOCOM, but Xbox owned that with Xbox Live. That was where I had. Now I did have an airflow on my 360 as well, but the first time I experienced an airflow controller, which I mentioned it in the TikTok, but essentially these controllers had fans in them that went, like, they had vents on the handles and then on the back, so that your hands, if you're anything like me and your hands would get sweaty, like, it was absolutely insane. But there were so many, because the first party controllers were just different colors. So your third party, you had airflow, you had the Nerf
they had
controllers.
designs, and they had like I said, theming. Like I said, my first one was the
thing.
Was the thing.
I didn't even know they did one of those.
It was orange. It was orange on the front and blue on the back. So, but what I was
cool.
So what I was getting at with that, so the airflow, the whole purpose was to make your hands, like, to keep them from sweating, basically, right? So when Scuff started doing their stuff, okay, they put this backing on them like this, and it's a custom thing that they do.
Oh, so they like ridges
to prevent. Well, it prevents your hands from sweating as much. They also came out with this stuff at the time. Wayne used to make fun of me for it. It was called Gamer Goo, and it was literally like a lotion to put on your hands.
That sounds like where kids of gamers come from.
Yeah, no, it was legitimately. So what it did? Let me see if I can find it.
Is this like what NFL players put on their hands to catch better?
That's stick on, but yeah. So actually, there's still a thing. It's if you Google Gamer Goo, now there's a bunch of different ones, and it's basically like a lotion, but it would keep your hands from sweating.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I don't like stuff on my hands, so I don't either. Not touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Well, I don't either. However, so when I bought my first Scuff, it came with this because this was real popular in the COD scene. It's when I did it. So they would send it with it.
I was going to say, I feel like this is all super competitive scene stuff.
It is. So they sent it, and you would put it on between that and the backs of the controllers. Dude, I could play for like 5 or 6 hours, and my hands never broke a sweat at all.
That is pretty cool, though, because
that's the whole. Which was, like I said, I didn't like.
Airflow.
It's like a gritty, like, solvent almost, like, that goes in your hands. Like, it feels weird,
yeah.
But like it dries, and then all of a sudden your hands just don't sweat. It's the weirdest stuff.
Yeah. So I also feel like it would. Like I said, I don't like things on my hands, so I think it would stress me out. But the idea of my hands not sweating, I'm all for, because I mean, that was why I loved the airflow controller so much.
So the other thing is with this, and that I was going to say, so this is also where you started having custom sticks, and you had the control freaks that GameStop sold to put on.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Scuff kind of started that, where you can get the different joysticks, you get different heights on them. You can get. There was some people that would take a Xbox layout, and you could put PS3 and PS4 or PS3 sticks on it, so it was the sticks. So that was a change, and then they put where they had the paddles on the back, and what the paddles did is they were mapped to your ABXY, so you could hit those buttons. And
and I I feel it wasn't until, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel it wasn't until like the PS4, Xbox One era when they started doing first party of those controllers.
So PS4.
Like they finally wanted to get in on the
When
action.
did the original Xbox Elite controller come out?
I think that was Xbox One. It might
Was
have been
it?
360, but I think it
No,
was
I
Xbox
think you're
One.
right.
Is
I
what
think
I'm
you're right.
thinking.
So, well, and that's why I was bringing this up is because this, it looks like the original Xbox One. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's when they decide. So probably
Yeah.
these companies like Scuff and everybody
So,
else, they were
well,
like, no,
they
no, no, no,
realized,
no.
well, Xbox was
Let's,
like, wait, no, they're making money off of our
yeah,
controllers. Because it is a mod controller, but it's not like a modded controller in an essence that
like rapid fire
rapid
stuff
fire,
and all
anything like that.
that.
That's not what it is.
Right.
Everything on it is technically like a legal mod to the controller. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, and that's what we did. So, like, it turned into so on 360, we had you could buy these kits, and it was basically what it was is so you play the system so long, you never look down at your controller. You
Nope.
know where all the buttons are, things like that.
Not
right?
at all. Not at all.
So you could buy just the buttons. So Wayne used to take controllers apart, paint them, change the buttons on them, clear coat them, put them back together, and then you had a custom controller.
See, now that's cool. Now, I mean, and again, they these companies want to keep their own money. I don't think Xbox does it anymore, but they did the design lab stuff where you could get your own controllers.
You can still do it. I have one. I had an orange one somewhere.
See, I've got one too, and let me see if I can go find it. But
Yeah, because that was
talking about your competitive controllers for a second.
Well, that's all I was gonna say is like that. So that's what, and then it changed from there. So like now like on this, I have 4 buttons on the back, 2 buttons on the side of the controller. So I have 6 extra buttons on the controller, and they're all linked to something for me to hit. So I can do. Oh yeah, so you have the blue and orange.
I've got the blue and orange like Goku style. Like
so. I think they still do it.
And then I've got my gamer tag, my Chase Windu 724.
Yeah.
On there.
So, but yeah, I had one. But that's what that was. So that actually, but talking about Xbox One, like you just said, so the Xbox One controller and the 360 controller, they knew they had a winner with the 360 controller. They really didn't change it a whole bunch.
No, they didn't. The other thing too that the 360 did, and the fact they realized they got it right by not changing it, but to your competitive aspect, outside of the physicality, that's also when, like, if you ask anybody what reload is, what are they going to say? It's X or it's square. What's melee? It's generally clicking. It's R3 or whatever.
Well, and that's something that because of that. So there's something that people do in COD. It's called wah-wah. It's like a reload cancel is what it is. So if you're in a reload animation, you can wah-wah, and basically what it does is it reloads your gun but cancels the full animation.
Oh my gosh! Like, see, this is why I don't do that kind of stuff. That sounds way too involved.
But just talking about it, it was called wah-wah, not triangle.
Oh, well, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Just like you were just saying, like, how do you reload? It's X, not square.
Well, no, that's what's funny. Like, even though I'm a Sony guy, a lot of times I'll find myself referencing the Xbox button layout. Like, even though I'm a Sony guy.
I remember me and you talked about this before. Like, you play all shooters on Xbox. Like, you like the Xbox controller for shooters.
Yep.
You play PlayStation for all your single players. You love it, things like that. But your shooters, you always play it on Xbox.
Yeah. Like, the competitive shooters that I do play, I mean, which isn't much, but like Fortnite, I play on the Xbox. And when COD comes out, I play on the Xbox. Now, I mean, so yeah, I mean, I definitely, again, it does feel natural to do that.
Well, and then, but the thing is, though, my whole complaint with the PS, versus 360 and PS3, like just this era. So my whole argument with the PS3 controller, I felt it was small. Like the 360 to me feels like the perfect size controller, like 360, Xbox One, stuff like that. Like it feels like the perfect size controller. Now, when you went into the next generation of consoles, like PS4 and Xbox One was still my favorite controller because it was still basically the same layout as the 360.
Yeah.
It wasn't much of a change. There was little innovations to it, but it wasn't much.
Well, what's funny is I had to Google, and there was a significant, I don't know why this is the word that comes to mind. They beefed up the Xbox One compared, like if you look up the original 360 controllers, they were just a little more narrow than what they are now.
Yeah.
The Xbox One and current controllers are basically the original Xbox controller, and the 360 had a baby. Like
Yeah.
that's basically what they did.
So, well,
But you're right. The 6-axis controller on the PS3 felt
it felt
small.
really small. So, like, my hands felt cramped.
Yes.
As dumb as that sounds, like, I felt so, and I don't know, this might be one of the reasons, but so my 360 the 360 controller, the way the battery pack was, my fingers rested against it. Like,
Oh yeah.
they didn't feel like they were on top of each other. I have a PS3 controller. They were rechargeable, which is a big thing.
Yeah, which they started and have maintained that. Xbox, you can get rechargeables, but otherwise
Yeah,
you're just
you
popping
can-
in AA batteries.
Yeah. So, but I feel like I didn't like that my hands would always because of how cramped it was. Like my hands were always I could almost hold the controller like this on the PS3 and it be fine.
Yeah,
So
I think it was. I mean, when they got to, well, before we move past 360 and PS3, I mean, again with Nintendo, because I feel like anytime when we get into a PlayStation Microsoft thing, we end up forgetting about Nintendo. But again with their innovation, like the Wii, like
the way that what they turned it to,
everybody had a Wii, like
yep.
everyone did.
We've talked about this about when the Wii came out and how it came out and stuff like
Dude,
that. Well, and even motion controls and stuff like that. That was fun.
I mean,
that was cool.
they kicked all that off, which our side quest is going to talk specifically around motion and things like that. But the Wii controller itself, though, conceptually, like it felt good, and also I feel really bad that we didn't talk about, and I didn't put it on the list, and that's my bad. But we completely skipped the GameCube controller.
Well, the GameCube controller was just
which some people still rave about when it comes to like Smash Brothers and stuff.
I like that controller.
Yeah,
it was set up. What was it? A, B. You had the XZ right above it,
and the thing is, they did have the offset sticks. Technically before the Xbox did, but they didn't function the way
because
the Xbox sticks did.
Your offset sticks, you had the offset sticks, but your bottom stick was just a C stick.
Exactly.
Which,
so it was
talking about it. That is one of the places now. Because I just googled it and that had a ton of secondary third party controllers.
Oh, the GameCube, yeah.
You remember the Wavebird?
Well, the Wavebird, I'm pretty sure was licensed. I think it was third party, but it was first party.
That controller was the first real true wireless
Yes, because I do remember, if I remember correctly, that was like the first. I think you're right. I think it's the first wireless, and then they did have. I don't think PlayStation or Xbox did any first party wireless controllers for that generation. I think they were all third party. Yeah. I don't think they got into the first party game until the PS3 360 era where they were all wireless. But no, I feel bad when I started talking about the Wii. I was like, ooh, we completely skipped the GameCube. But the Wii was obviously very much focused on motion controls. But again, we have to point out the fact that Nintendo and their innovation,
that's what's funny. So I didn't realize this before you started talking about the GameCube. There's 12 buttons on a GameCube controller.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Because you have the two back buttons, so they had dual triggers, which is that was awesome. You had the C stick, which had technically each way was a button.
Yep. Then you had
A, B, X, Y.
Yep.
And then you had the regular joystick on the other side.
Yeah, it was a weird layout. Again, they always did stuff like
But I didn't hate the controller.
No, I agree. But from the PlayStation to the PlayStation 5, the general vibe has remained the same. From the Xbox to the Xbox Series X, the general vibe has remained the same. Nintendo has basically been hold my beer, every generation.
I will say this though. When the PlayStation went from PS3 to PS4.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think I would care that much. Them putting the pad in the middle and making the controller a little bit bigger made that controller which actually, that is what a lot of people use nowadays on competitive is PS, like the PlayStation controllers now, because that was their complaint between PS3 and 360 is not even just the layout, it was the controller size.
Well, and that's the thing. The PS4 I think improved, but I think they have really
The
nailed
PS5 is
it with the
fantastic.
PS5. That
Yeah.
controller feels amazing. The haptic feedback, like I think it's funny what you were describing back with those old controllers where they were drilling holes and stuff. Their adaptive triggers do that now. Like
Yeah.
certain games that support that, like, you know, depending on the gun you're firing and stuff, the way the triggers respond.
However, I do not like it on the PlayStation 5. I turn it off every game.
Oh, really? I think it's cool. Like playing Spider-Man and
No.
swinging and stuff was really cool. And you know, it's funny. I was streaming Starfield the other day, and I forgot the setting was turned on PlayStation, but how the mic, you know, the PlayStation controller has a speaker on it.
Yeah.
And there's certain games that the aesthetic or the vibe or whatever you want to call it is really cool, and Starfield is one of them. But the best one is GTA, because every time you get a phone call in GTA, it plays through the controller speaker, and no other controller has that. Like the touchpad is unique to PlayStation. The haptic feedback unique to PlayStation, but Xbox, of course, has set the standard. You know,
Well, the other thing too, like the light that's around the touchpad that changes depending on like your health and stuff like that. Like I will say, PlayStation has done really well about making the controller part of the game.
Oh yeah. Like again, GTA, you get a wanted level, it starts flashing red and blue. You know, whenever you get a wanted level, but it was, I mean, and what blows my mind with the PS5 controller is you got a portal like I did. It is amazing to me how they made the portal
feel like
a PS5 controller.
Yeah.
Like
I will say using the touchpad on the portal is annoying, but
agreed. That is very
outside of that, like everything else just feels like you're holding a PlayStation controller.
Yeah. But
like I thought it was going to be really heavy. It's really not.
Oh yeah.
It's nice.
No, I was impressed. But I mean, so current gen, you've got the PS5.
Well, and then just before we really talk about the newest gen, like this is also when the original Switch came out and started the change. Like also, obviously the Switch 2 has made upgrades, made things a little bit better, stuff like that. But the original Switch is the layout for the Switch 2 and the Joy-Cons and how they work and
innovation, like
it took the best things from the Wii,
portable, you know.
Well, it took the best things from the Wii and made them better, but also made it to where it felt like using just the Joy-Cons isn't the best, but like playing it in portable, but using a Pro controller on the original Switch or the Switch 2, fantastic. The Switch 2 Pro controller is fantastic.
There is no controller like that is my favorite feeling controller that I have ever used. Better than PlayStation, better than Xbox. Like the Pro 2 controller. The sticks, the way they glide, like the fact that it's got the built-in, you know, little bumper, or not bumper, what do they call these? Little,
I know what you're talking about.
Paddle buttons.
Yeah.
But dude, I would play every single console, every game with that controller if I didn't have to navigate the ABXY. It stresses me out so much.
But just bringing it up, like that's something that they did. Like it was fantastic. And then, you know, just talking about talking about peripherals. Switch has a lot of peripherals for that to make it feel, which I think a lot of those originated from the Wii. For instance, like Wii Sports. You had the tennis rackets. And they were annoying when we worked at GameStop.
Oh, my God, I hated them. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I feel peripherals started like PS1 and Xbox, but then once you get to PS3, Xbox, Wii, dude, everything blew the hell up.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. With the Wii, you had the thing with the rackets and the swords and all the random crap.
We had DDR pads. We had when DDR came to where it was on PS2 and stuff like that.
Yes.
We had the 2 DDR pads so we could play DDR at home. Like
Yeah,
Guitar Hero. That's a fantastic one. That game,
dude.
they need to. That
Well,
game was fantastic. I
they
know they're
are.
making another one.
Yeah, they're not. I forgot what they're calling it, but they're
Yeah,
apparently doing because then you had the guitars, and then you had the drums, and then you had the mics, and you had all these things. And I mean, those are all like late peripherals. Like when the peripherals started, like obviously light guns, they
yeah.
started at the NES level, but they had those on PS2, they had those on Xbox. You mentioned the fight sticks, like that was early, like the
Mhm.
arcades, but then it got to where you could buy a fight stick, plug it into your PS2, plug it into your PS3, plug it into your Xbox. That's what Jordo and all
I
those.
had one on the 360. I had a Mortal Kombat fight stick on the 360.
Do you still have it?
No,
Oh, okay. I was
our
like, how
house,
did I
our
not
house.
know this?
No, our house had a kind of a flood, and not a flood, but like
Oh, the
it
old house.
leaked. Yeah, at our old house, and it leaked, and it just so happened it was in the top of my closet because that's where I'd store it, and it leaked onto it. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, the whole thing with the fight stick is cool, but I never did it competitive, so I would just button mash. But it was cool.
I got
Um,
one on sale. The only reason I bought it.
yeah,
Jordan talked me into
same.
it.
I forgot which one it was I had, but
I had the actual Mortal Kombat one
but
that came out,
now
but
I will say I was a sucker for, and I technically had one. I just don't know where I put it, and it's probably gone by now. But the flight sticks that you could buy.
I'm sure Scott's got some of those, right?
Oh, dude, I have no doubt. But the flight sticks, the steering wheels, I actually,
Dude, some of the racing rigs now,
oh my god.
like, there's a
Do
guy.
do you know? Do you know that Howie is considering getting one of those racing rigs?
I mean, I could see him doing it. It's
I could
something.
too. I mean,
Oh,
but
well, what I was getting at is that a guy. There was a guy that he used to be a competitor or a pro COD player. He was a champion in Halo, champion in COD. He now races for Porsche.
no
So what
shit.
he did, do you remember the Gran Turismo movie that we were talking about the other
Yeah,
day?
I'm
And I
glad
watched
you
it.
watched that the
So
other day.
um, that's kind of what it did. He started like race simming while he got in shape because there's a whole like outlook on that. Like, and he was so he had to lose a ton of weight and like get ready and stuff like that.
Right.
Now he's racing. Like, I don't know if he's done it recently, but I know
He's
when he first
actually
he
racing for
won
Porsche.
like races. Like
That's
he
legit.
raced Porsche. Yeah.
See, now that's cool. But yeah, see, and I do love, like, we got Forza coming out here soon. Like, I would love to have a racing wheel
Yeah.
but dude, like, I remember though, when we worked at GameStop, like, there'd be a racing wheel for $50 or $60. Dude,
The Ferrari ones were, I think, 100. They were
yeah,
99.99.
dude, I was looking the other day just because I was curious with Forza coming out. The cheapest one is like $300.
Well, now it's because they come with a whole mount set and everything, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's because they're all wireless now, where they weren't back in the day. But the flight sticks, we just had Thunder over Louisville a few weeks ago, and man, it made me want to. Ace Combat I have on my PS5. I was like, I want to go buy a flight stick and I want to play Ace Combat with a flight stick. It's just, but there's so many different peripherals that have come up over the years. Of course, the cameras, if you wanted to argue that with Connect and not
Mm.
Connect and all that. But, and we talked about the airflow controllers and we talked about like the Nerf controllers and things. But do you remember some of the like collector's edition ones? Like again with GameCube. Remember when they had that freaking chainsaw controller? Like it was a
No.
it,
Well, I feel like I do, but
it was a special edition with um, Resident Evil 4.
oh, that would have been miserable to play on.
Dude, it was. I just remember seeing it and being like, what in the world? And I mean, it was cool, like cool collector's thing.
Oh my gosh, they're going for like a lot of money right now too, though.
Oh, dude, it is absolutely insane. And I mean, they had all kinds of random controllers that popped up over the years like that. But I remember working at GameStop with that, and
Well, people make things controllers now. Like I've seen people. There was what did she do? She used a DDR pad to play Elden Ring.
oh my God, I saw that.
And then there's like people that
I haven't
use
even played Elden Ring, but I can acknowledge how
have you
impressive that is.
well, and then have you seen the one where the dude just somehow got it to where the goldfish made the decisions in the game. Yeah, hold on. I wish I could find it, but he like basically used a laser to use the way the fish was swimming to play the game somehow.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was wild.
The
Like the way people do things now is just crazy.
the creativity is absolutely mind-boggling. But if you had to pick your absolute favorite though of every generation and
It's the
every
360. It's not
controller,
even close.
is 360 for you?
Not far, not even
Oh
close.
yeah, no, I'm going Pro controller. Switch to Pro controller. Like it
So
is.
like I think that I think it's just because of how much time I had an all black wired 360 controller.
That's
The
fair.
amount that I put so much time into that, like I like used that specific controller for. I broke it because I played it for like 2 years, and that's all I did was play COD on it. And I was playing, I was a younger kid, so I was playing anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a night, probably.
Well, if there's one thing that I think everyone can agree on, it is that technology and just things in general are not made to hold up the way they were back in the day.
No,
So that makes sense. But well, all right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our story mode in our hands. Let's go ahead and jump into our first side quest, Power Cycle. The whole thing with Power Cycle was kind of just a kind of deep pull, personal nostalgia a little bit as it relates to our topic. Now, today was all about controllers. Now, the reason Power Cycle came to mind, for me specifically, was, and I can't remember if I mentioned this. So I know I've mentioned 1,000 times that 1998 is when I feel like I became a gamer with Metal Gear Solid. But my first gaming experience on the NES, there was a Duck Hunt Mario combo game, and
I remember that game.
and my first gaming experience was sitting down at my grandparents' house, and my papa sitting in his chair, and playing Duck Hunt, and I remember thinking to myself, like, here I am, a little kid with the gun right up on the screen shooting it, and I was still managing to not hit these damn ducks. And then here he was sitting back in his recliner, as far as the cord will let him reach, and he's, pop, 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 pop. Now, I think I learned on one of our episodes from Howie that I guess you could control the ducks with the controller. So I like to think that maybe I didn't suck that much at Duck Hunt. And maybe my papa was just moving the ducks around and I didn't realize it. But in talking controllers and peripherals, like that was my first gaming experience.
So mine was definitely like that I can remember was the SNES controller. It's just probably the far back as I can remember. I
Well,
remember playing the SNES, but that's
and that's what I kind of figured. But I know you played in arcades.
yeah. So what you were getting ready to say, we had Time Crisis on PS2.
Did you? Did it have
Yes,
it had
the
the
one that had
paddles
the
and stuff?
I don't remember it had the pedals, but it had the gun.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it having the pedals. I remember playing in the arcade and you had to do it. There was a different way to like put a button on the controller
On the guns, yeah.
gun.
Now,
Yeah.
did the guns on PS2? I know on PS3s they did because I remember in the arcades what made the Time Crisis game so awesome was that they had the slide. Every time you would shoot, the slide
Yeah.
would go back. Did the one on the PS2 do that too?
I can't remember, so I don't want to tell you yes if it didn't.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
The PS3 one I remember it did because it had the pedal to it too. But now I feel like I have to Google because I'm just curious whether or not.
So, now, but your
yeah,
next one,
PS2 it didn't.
yeah. So your next one, like, so the DDR, like, I do remember having DDR at home. Like,
See, now I am dying to know. Like, so did Wayne play DDR? Like, I can picture you playing DDR, but like, did Wayne play DDR?
I didn't even play it that much.
Okay, but did Wayne play DDR? Like, I can picture you to.
You understand Wayne can dance, right?
What?
I'm being serious.
Now, I feel like he's going to listen to this and hear me doubting him, and he's going to get upset. But I struggle to understand. So Wayne can dance?
Wayne was good at that. Wayne was good at Just Dance back in the day. Like,
okay, all right. Now, see, I didn't play Just Dance. Now, Dance Central on the Kinect, I did play.
I don't remember us playing that, but we played. Mom loved Just Dance, so she would she would play it. We'd have it, and then like Wayne was good at Guitar Hero games and stuff too. Like I remember us getting Guitar Hero on the PS2, and Wayne was like the first one of us or any of our cousins to play on Expert and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, but I attribute that to is like because we played instruments in high school, so he played the violin, and you had to shift your hands a lot.
Did not know he played the violin.
He still can. He still can if you hand it to him.
No kidding. What did you play?
The violin.
How did I not know either one of you all played the violin?
I stopped playing after my freshman year. He stopped playing. He played all through high school.
No kidding.
Yeah, he did it. We were somewhere. I think it was our cousin was in high school and wanted to play. He handed Wayne his violin and Wayne played it.
I guess since we technically didn't meet, I mean, I know you were still in high school. You remind me of this often, but I guess because
I wasn't playing whenever.
Yeah, so I didn't know you all had any. Not to say I have musical talent, but like I didn't know you all had any musical talent.
I mean, I was very mediocre. Wayne was like at one point he was like second or third chair. And
no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, that's cool. Well, see,
Wayne was really good.
See, the dancing thing makes me chuckle because I got two left feet. Like I can't dance at all unless it's like the line dance kind of stuff, with the wobble and the Cupid shuffle. Like I can do that. But
Wayne can actually dance. So DDR, DDR isn't like really dancing, but it's kind of like.
Well, that was I know you know the song Sandstorm, right?
Yeah.
That was my first introduction to that. Was I had DDR on PS2, and actually, and I know he listens. My buddy Quentin and I remember being in his house with these the cloth plastic DDR mats or whatever. And we were up all night trying to get to play that on the highest difficulty. And I remember, and I've always been bigger than all my friends, I remember being drenched in sweat from playing that game so much.
I remember going to the movies back then and people having a jug of quarters playing DDR at the.
Dude, I mean, it was, and then Dance Central, what's funny is.
Which that'll actually lead us into our next spot, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing with Dance Central, I very much remember. There's a video, it pops up on my social media every year, because you know how they like to give you memories and stuff, where my buddy Corey and I, which both of us have no dancing ability, ironically enough, dancing to Sandstorm on Dance Central on the Kinect. And, it pops up on social media every now and then. But, I mean, it's just one of those things, obviously we've had so
even if you can't dance, you still play the games.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things that we've had so many episodes talking about so many different things, but even something as basic as the controllers that we use and the peripherals that we use are still deep rooted into some kind of staple aspect, of something,
Yeah. So but now on to our next side quest.
Yeah, let's jump into split screen. I mentioned at the top that split screen is the segment that looks at something very similar, but a then and now type situation. And since we're talking controllers, we're really talking about kind of interactiveness around
movement,
motion,
stuff like
VR.
that.
We know where motion started. And I guess you could argue if we really wanted to go old school, you could talk the Power Glove and Virtual Boy. We don't want to get into that.
It really started around the Wii. The Wii is what started it.
Exactly.
And because the Wii and then the PS Move and the Kinect tried to play off of that and tried to, hey, I'm going to try this.
And that's the thing. I mean, the Wii and the Move, I guess, were super similar. I mean, they had wands, essentially, that you held. They each required some kind of sensor to I guess the Wii was a little different. I mean, the Wii, it was all IR sensors and stuff like that, I think, and gyros. The Move, it was like the camera and then the light on the ball.
On the ball. Yeah. And then the Kinect didn't have controllers.
Yeah. And that, look, I'm going to tell you right now, I love the Wii very much. I played Wii bowling way more than I should have.
You also really like the PS Move. Spent a lot of money on that.
I will never, ever live that down. I won't. It's just not going to...
I just wanted to make sure you knew.
No, I know. And I'm sure Rob and Howie both will remind me of this at some point in time.
Yeah.
Because, I bought everything. Now, I will say the Move did have a couple really good shooting games, and they had
that's where
cool
Killzone, the Killzone on the Move wasn't bad.
Dude, and I had I had that.
Because what was it? You had the main controller, the actual PS Move controller. Then what was
So the Wii, you had the Wiimote and the
the
nunchuck.
nunchuck? But I don't remember what the
On
PlayStation
the
one was called.
Move, it was the motion controller and the nav controller for
That's what,
navigation.
because I remember on the Killzone thing, you put the one up, the move up top, so the ball would
Was
connect,
facing.
and then the nav was in the back.
Yes, that was the sharpshooter attachment.
Yes, that's what
And
it was.
yes, and I loved that. Like it was super cool. And I'm gonna tell you, when the Kinect came out, like I had fun with the Kinect, don't get me wrong. But I'm gonna tell you this. I love, and it's very obvious, all things Dragon Ball. Everything. Anything Dragon Ball, give it to me. There are two things Dragon Ball related that I would prefer to forget.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
I don't remember. I know the game you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of it.
It was a Dragon Ball Connect game, and I think it was truly just called Dragon Ball Z Connect. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z for Connect. It was so like I am the person who enjoys everything at some degree, especially Dragon. No, I want to forget that game ever existed, and just like I want to forget about Dragon Ball Evolution. But to the Kinect's defense, like I mean, the dance games were cool. Their little Connect Sports
They had a
or
couple
Connect
misses.
Adventures was
Yeah,
okay.
they had some misses, but like for what it was cool. You didn't have to have anything special for the Connect. You needed the Connect. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, they did have like it seems that it was like the sports games. You know, that's what was the best on the Wii. They did have that Connect Animals game that was pretty cool. I think they did a Connect Star Wars game. I don't know if you ever played that one,
No,
but
I honestly, I wasn't playing any Connect games. Like I just didn't. I didn't even like. There was a long time that we didn't even. I didn't even have my Connect hooked up.
oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think what the Kinect did more than their motion stuff was the interaction with the console, like the voice activation stuff. Which,
Xbox, turn off.
dude, that peanut clip. I think I saw a peanut clip.
It is. He's down. He said, "Are you playing on your Xbox?" Or it was
Yeah,
him or Gingy, one of them, and they were like, "Xbox, turn off."
and then the guy shoots him.
Yeah,
And yeah, it I mean, but they did some different kind of innovation, but nonetheless, those all required like minus the Kinect that didn't have a controller, but it required some kind of like movement and hardware and stuff
well,
like
and that
that.
was how the whole reason behind these, or it was games' way of combat some kind of exercise. Like
Oh, yep, because
that's what it was.
The Wii had Wii Fit. Like, dude, do you remember how many stacks of those boards we would get traded
Oh
in?
yeah, oh yeah.
Like, I mean, but it
Which,
was
to be honest, it was a good concept.
oh,
There was
100%.
just only so much you can do with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I will say, I mean, I managed to get a lot of my exercise through playing stuff on the Wii, playing the stuff on the Move. And then I mean, once you get into VR, like I mean, so you had the Wii, the
Beat
Move,
Saber.
the Connect, dude. So when VR first started becoming a thing, you had all these headsets you had to plug into your computer and blah blah blah, and I never wanted to explore that. Then Sony decided to have the PlayStation VR, still wired, but because it was PlayStation and I'm a Sony fanboy, I was all for it. Dude, I probably lost 30 or 40 pounds playing Beat Saber. And those kinds of VR games, I know I started this whole thing off talking about how my old ass can't do VR because I get motion sickness. But those types of VR games I do fine with. Like just, standing there and swinging, and I do okay with those.
Yeah.
But it was around that same time though was when you started seeing the full standalone headsets coming out. Like they didn't require a
Quest
PC.
and
The Meta Quest or Oculus
yeah.
Quest was what it was at the time. And I mean, I don't know when they first started, and I probably should have Googled it before. Let's see. When
Well,
did standalone Oculus Quest come out? Because when you think about when those started to where they are now, I mean, 2019. So we're saying in
dude,
7 years,
now there's VRs where you can literally sit on a treadmill and they like lock you in and you have a vest that like
Like you're
if you
hanging
get
from the ceiling or
well
something.
there's some that like I don't know it's like if you get I think it's I don't remember where I was watching it but he was playing something and he like got shot in the back and it like haptic feedbacks into the back so it's like pushing you into the back like oh you just got
Yes.
shot here.
Dude, it is like it's one thing, and we were talking about the Kinect and how they had no controller. But the MetaQuest 3, I had that headset, but it's the one I got rid of because I kept getting nauseous playing Batman, which Batman in VR was amazing before it made me nauseous. But they had hand tracking where you didn't have a controller or anything. You could be up here with the menu doing stuff.
Yeah.
And, but the stuff they have now with hand tracking, with the treadmills that you were talking about, the haptic vests. I mean, when you think in 2005, not 2005, 2007, I think it was when the Wii came out. Um,
Versus this, dude, it's just
so
crazy.
2006 is when the Wii came out, which again, Nintendo and their innovation. But then 2019 is the standalone VR headsets. Because I will say, most of the things that I see with the haptic vests, with the treadmills and all that, they're usually playing on Meta headsets. Like I don't
Mhm.
even know what other headsets are kind of out in the market right now. And look, I know Sony did the PSVR 2 on PS5. I did not get it. Again, I know that I can't do VR because it's gonna make me sick. But my understanding about why you get motion sickness is because you're standing still, but you're moving in the game. So I feel, not that I want to play a game and run on a treadmill, for the record, but I feel that if I could move, I probably would dodge the motion sickness. But I don't want to run on a treadmill while I'm playing a game. Like that seems counterintuitive. I mean, I guess if that makes sense. But it's just insane to think about. I mean, when you look at the start of our story mode and we're talking about paddles and wheels
So
to
what it's at now.
the controllers that Nintendo started
Well,
to
and
how
now I
Sony and
know
Microsoft refined it.
I play some games on it, but now I don't even use a controller on a lot of games. Like most of the games
Oh
I play,
yeah,
it's just
yeah. It's so
mouse and
funny,
keyboard. So
man. I didn't even think about. I feel like PC Master Race people are gonna be like, man, how do you have an episode card in our hands and you don't talk about mouse and keyboard?
the peripherals about around a computer and what you can have and what you can do is those have always been ahead.
That's true. I
They've
brought up
always been ahead.
I
And
brought up flight sticks and how much I love those, but I
well,
remember in the old Windows days with Flight Simulator, my uncle having like a big apparatus for his
well,
PC.
and you can even do the same thing. Like most racing sims are played off a computer because the way that they are. Like I watched Summit. He's a streamer. He had a racing sim that was built into his control or into to where like when he sat in it, his whole like his seat was with like over the computer. So that was his apparatus. Like
That's legit.
yeah, like it. So it went around him like this, and then the computer was linked into it and everything. It was, I mean, that's just what you can do. But PC's always going to be. But now all these controllers we're talking about, a lot of them you can find a way to hook up to a computer.
Well, and I feel that if there's the most stingy of all things, I would say is usually Sony. But now you can get the DualSense controller to connect
Mhm.
to your PC. But as soon as I was saying that, I realized Sony is not the most stingy. It's Nintendo. Because, yeah, you definitely can't use a Pro controller on PC.
Yeah. So,
Or
but
I would
like
have
now
already
I
done it.
use 360 is definitely the easiest to use, or
Dude, straight
or
up.
Xbox One is the
Yeah.
easiest one to hook up to a computer and play. But
Well,
I just wanted to bring that up too. Like PC is a completely different thing.
yeah,
So
the controller that I had the easiest access to, obviously I went and got this one to show you, but it's this one that I use for my
well,
PC.
that's why the two that sit on my desk are these two controllers, and it's my Scuff for if I play a shooter, and then it's my regular just Xbox One controller.
Yeah.
So like when my buddy stays at my house or watching my house when I go out of town, he uses this controller the entire time. On which now he doesn't play very many games. He uses a controller on. But
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I don't want to leave out mouse and keyboard, but I will acknowledge the fact that mouse and keyboard exist, but and I
The
will
peripherals
say,
on that and the people that make them, there's just so many. Like, it'd be hard to talk about that.
yeah, and I will say though, I am a sucker for a creamy sounding clicky keyboard.
Yeah.
Like
So,
big
especially for
fan.
someone like you that's on a computer quite a bit, like,
Dude, I got two of them. I got one over yonder, and I got one right here, so I can pivot back and forth.
but I think that about finishes it up, right?
I think so. Let's go ahead and jump into our save point. All right. Well, we kind of we took our split screen talking VR and motion and kind of thank you for reminding me that we did not talk about mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, we couldn't get out of this episode without talking about it.
No. And I know, is it Wayne that's always talking about PC Master Race, or is that Howie? One
It's
of them always
Howie.
bring
It's
it up.
Scott, but Wayne plays everything on PC. Like, I don't even know. So, like, the only game that I think Wayne sometimes plays, Rocket League is one that, like, there are some games that
When I see him playing League
they
all
flat
the
out
time.
tell you, well, when you get on, we don't use a keyboard on League, but when you log on to a game, there's some games like Elden Ring I think is one of them. It specifically says use a controller. Do not use keyboard and mouse. Like, this game is made for a controller. There's a couple of them.
I thought games like League would have been made for mouse and keyboard. I didn't realize.
That's what I said. Yeah, they are.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I said they are, but I said Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, no. That,
Like, Elden Ring
I've
literally
seen those
tells
messages
you to do
pop
it.
up. Use a controller.
NBA, if you play 2K on it, 2K will straight up say, like, you need to use a controller. Like, oh, we don't detect a controller. This is a controller based game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So.
But and that's the thing. We literally went through kind of the whole life cycle, and yeah, we kind of forgot some along the way. And if we didn't talk about certain peripherals, it's kind of primarily.
Let us know about what peripherals you use that we didn't talk about.
Yeah,
because that might be something like we just didn't think about.
Yep. And what's your favorite controller? Mine was the Pro controller. His was the 360 controller. But the thing is, we do a little bit of research with these sometimes just to kind of keep us on track and things. But a lot of this is very much what we remember and what our memories are, and supplemented by kind of what we can Google real quick. You might even heard my creamy keyboard clicking here. But yeah, so it was another good game centric episode. Really born on, again, the topic coming up in a previous episode.
Just randomly, y'all talking about airflow controllers,
and it's like, what, we should talk about controllers and stuff, and so
and it bloomed into all the peripherals in general. So.
Exactly, But as always, we greatly appreciate you hanging out with us and listening. We're 26 episodes in, and if you haven't been keeping up with things on social media, just going to call out the fact that we have started doing, and I say we because the Midnight Release podcast is a we, but I have started streaming on a couple different platforms on YouTube and on Twitch as of this week. So if that is something that you're interested in, you can catch us on Twitch, you can catch us on YouTube, streaming. Well, right now it's going to be Pragmata, but whatever else comes up. But you can catch us on any of those areas. You can reach out on Instagram, on TikTok, the Midnight Release Pod at gmail.com. As always, let us know your feedback. Yep, Discord. You have to remind me every time I forget about it. So the Discord is there as well. The links that will get you to all these places are in all the different bios. I have the Discord up all the time. It's just something there's not a lot going on right now, but that is definitely something you can pop in and help us get going, and another place to give feedback as well. And I think
that's pretty much it. It's almost May the 4th, which is a big day in Star Wars land.
Yeah, it is going to be technically. Is it
May the 5th is when the next.
I was going to say, is our next one the May the 5th?
No, May the 4th is. But May the 4th is coming out, so.
That is true. But yeah, May 5th will be our next episode, which I feel bad that I didn't think about that to try and make something Star Wars focused. So I apologize on your behalf. I can see the disappointment on your face, actually.
Just a little bit.
But now,
especially considering there's a Mando version.
Wait. 5/5 Cinco de Mayo. Is Cinco de Mayo on Taco Tuesday?
It is.
Now that's awesome. That's very exciting. Well, so barring any shenanigans, next week's episode is going to be our trio or quad episode, Heroes in the Shadows. It's going to be similar to our MCU episode, but it's going to be
just DC focused.
DC focused is what that one's going to be. So that's what we're going to be looking at for next week. If for some reason we've got to pivot, then we will likely jump into, and we alluded to this in patch notes, but if we can't do our Heroes in the Shadows, we'll likely start looking at some of our music focused topics. But we'll see how that shakes out, or maybe we'll throw together a Star Wars episode for May the 4th. But then I'll basically like sit here on mute and just let Austin talk about Star Wars. But there's so, dude, that. You know what though? We are gonna need a Star Wars episode for games and movies. So,
but other than that, thanks everyone again for listening. Like always, we appreciate it. It's why we keep doing it. So.
It is. We appreciate you very, very much. And remember, some memories are worth lining up for.